Alright, so typically I wake up around 9 or 10 in the morning. That's usually the time when I sort of hit the right clock, internal body structures, whatever, telling me, get up, get out there, do stuff. So around 9 or 10, I get up, I go into the kitchen. I usually make myself a little breakfast of yogurt and fruit. It's kind of my go-to option. Gets me in the right headspace for the day. It's pretty light, nothing too intense. Then, once that's done, go back in here, grab my go bag, which is to say my backpack, which I every night set up to be ready to go in the morning. Take this with me, go out for a nice walk in the Kelvin Grove Park, which happens to be right next to me. That is just a great thing in the morning. Helps keep you focused, clears your head. It's generally really good for you. And it puts me in a good spot to go to class, which is usually around midday. So anywhere between 12 and 2 p.m. I have classes on any given day. And that also is a good spot to kind of afterward go get coffee, meet up with friends, just generally do the afternoon thing. I'm not much of a lunch person, necessarily. I will get it when I'm hanging out with friends. But for the most part, I kind of just eat when I'm hungry. And that fits pretty well with my study schedule as well, because I like to kind of do things when my brain is telling me now's a good time. And usually those good times are focused on my primary subject, which is history. This year I spent a pretty good amount of time studying the early modern world for my degree course, which is second year, by the way. Essentially looking at how, especially Western Europe, but really the whole world as well, kind of changes over 500 or so years from the Renaissance to the beginnings of the modern world that we have now. Lots of big stuff, big trends, big movements, interesting phenomena that sort of run the gamut from how people live in a city, how they set it up, to who goes to war with who, and how money works, and all these things that you don't really necessarily think about until they're in your face, and you're like, wow, okay, these things are pretty important. Other than history, I have two side subjects, film and TV and Celtic Civilization, which are, one of them, Celtic Civ, is essentially just another history course. It's just focused on Celtic civilizations, like early medieval Britain, Ireland, north of France, that sort of thing. Film and TV is, predictably, film and TV. My mom is a second assistant director in Hollywood, so I've got a pretty good background in that, but I found that the course itself just wasn't quite my cup of tea. It was a little bit theoretical. I think I'm more of a hands-on guy when it comes to that sort of thing. So after I've been thinking around in that school headspace, which I usually like to do in the afternoons, I make my way home, which when I come home at the end of the day, which is usually, unless there's some main event on or a society meeting for university, is usually around 7 or 8. I like it to be me time. I like to come home, make some dinner, which I don't really like to do, by the way. Cooking's not really my thing. But I'll throw together something, make sure I've got some room in the belly there. And then I come in here. My room is essentially my favorite place for chilling out, and I try to keep it that way. So when I'm in here, most of the time, unless I really need to crunch and do some work, I'm watching Netflix on my computer or playing video games. I'm a big gamer, especially on PC. Like building my own computers, like messing around with that stuff. It's pretty good fun. And then once I'm done with all that, which can usually run quite a while, I tend to clock out around 1 or 2 in the morning. Usually is about when I go to sleep. Sometimes I will just pull all-nighters because either I'm really invested in a game or a show, or I'm writing a script, which I like to do in my spare time. But for the most part, 1 or 2 kind of sets me up for it.